Greetings, everyone. At Cairo. Welcome welcome to the Underground Spiritual Game, episode 11. Welcome. I'm Bobby Priest. Kindly like, follow, share, drop something in the comment. Let me know you're there. Greetings for Lakimi. Hope everyone is doing well. I wish you all strength, good health, and abundance of wealth. Because, like always, the road is open. Because every day the sunrise is a ritual for growth and the opportunity to build and create. So we build by building. That's connecting with like-minded people and moving in the same direction. So at Cairo, y'all get we get established, get on. Happy O'Shea Ifa IJ today. It is Ifa Baba, Patu Town, Small Baba, Vigiti Community, Witness to Creation, second in rank to Olodumare is second in rank. That's Baba Patu. Greetings today. Abaru, Boye, Bobo, Awo. Abaru, Boye, Bobo, Awo. Aboru boye bobo awo. Eya boru boye koyakuo. Aboru boye bobo awo. Like always, it is our J we greet first. It is our J we praise early in the morning. Even before we give reverence to the great elder Arumala. Ajay Karo, Ajay Olokun, bring us wealth. Make our home your residence. The young become elders, and the elders become more vibrant through you, Ajay. I say, Ajay, we salute you upon rising. We salute you as we wake, and we salute you at daybreak. You are the one, Ajay, who brings fulfillment. You are the one who brings the finest things. You are the one who brings satisfaction. Ajay, let us have you in our hands and not around our necks as a burden. Let us have you in our bank account and not as debt. Abarubaye for Lakimi, greetings everyone who's on. Ajay, make our home amidst the prosperity, make our surroundings the culture of abundance. Ajay, it was you who gave birth to wealth in the opening of Showboat. Ajay, it was you who promised us, Omo Ajay, your children, that when we labor, we shall receive wealth. And even when we don't labor, we shall receive wealth. So Ajay, smile upon us and make our residence your home. Ashe, Ashe. So, everyone, welcome to the Underground Spiritual Game. This is 11th episode. You know, a little bit, we're going to be looking back. Sorry, we're going to be looking back. And we're going to say, we're going to be on our 100th episode before you know it. So, we're going to be able to look back on the 11th and be able to say, oh, wow, I remember that day. I said, so the Underground Spiritual Game. You know, this phrase was coined by Fela Kuti. And Fela Kuti, if you don't know, is the pioneer of Afro beats, Yoruba, Nigerian, 80s, 90s was, you could say, a natural phenomenon during his time. Fela Kuti was a Yoruba practitioner. And we know those Yoruba practitioners and Yoruba devotees of Isheshe, of within that Yoruba spiritual philosophy, is not widely known. They may know of it, but it's not widely understood. So it is an underground spiritual thing. But beyond all, it is divine science. Many people could tell you about what's going on in the religion in China. Many people could tell you about the religion in, we know, Ethiopia, the religion that's going on in Saudi Arabia, the religion that's going on in Greece. But when it comes to African spirituality, the smartest people can get mind fog because they don't really understand. So that's why we call it the underground spiritual game. So today, in this message, I want to speak about the mothers of the underground spiritual game and also the hidden rules of power. For some people, it's going to take a lot to grasp. So you're going to have to study, you're going to have to look, because when we speak about this divine science, we speak about this tradition. They set images and objectives to make it seem like it's so simple. I was watching something on the news the other day, and the people was coming together and they was trying to do rituals to stop violence. And the people on the news was like, what do they think? They think rituals can stop this, but they was Christian minded. Because if you'd have told them that, oh, if you pray and ask Jesus, they probably would have believed it. But since they only thinking that, and they can't see past that veil, is the thing. Because to get and to understand this culture, to understand this spiritual philosophy, you have to get past that veil. And then even some people within the tradition still don't understand what we call the hidden forces of power within the underground spiritual game. So this story tells about they mention the favorite son, which name was Epehe, which was the favorite son of, they say, the witches of Ile-Ife. Now, the witches of Ile-Ife, Yoruba, is the Olori Eleye Lorin Igbo, which is the head of the birds of the forest. So, to understand the Yoruba language, the Yoruba language give concrete images. It's not abstract like English. So it gives us concrete images that possesses, contains, and carry a philosophy, and is much more richer than just saying witch. You understand? Because it's not just abstract ideals, but it's something that we can experience. It's something that the words always going to have something that relates to our senses, whether we can taste, hear, touch, and they're not going to just be an abstract philosophical ideal. So the word for witches that they use within the Yoruba and within these contexts is eleye, which is the owner or possessor of the birds of the forest. So his mother was the head of the owner, possessor of the birds in the forest. Understand, from the bird context, the bird is evolves in both worlds. They see things, they hear things, they carry their operational force, and they are mystical force. Okay, the birds is understood to be the messengers of the mothers. They are the unlimited eye. So now, if you in Yoruba land, you see a crown of a Oba, a king that has a crown that has a bird, is represent our mothers, which would be Awan Iyawa. So stick with me. So the mother, his mom, was the head of the Eleye, is the the head of the witches, which how they translate into English, which more or less be head of the carriers of birds, the owners of the birds. And she was also, they say, an influential member, a head member on the board of the Iyami. So they making two distinctions. They saying that she was the head of the Eleye, which would be those who the owner of the birds of the forest. And she was an influential member of the Iyami, which is translate into my mothers. So the Iyami is that sacred title, used for the collective mothers. So not every expression of the Iyami will be necessarily defined by Eleye. Not every, but the Eleye is a part of the Iyami. They will operate within that wider field. Because understand, they within and move within the same maternal spiritual authority. But each, you have different expressions for the mothers once we study what's going on within the Yoruba concept, that philosophy understanding. You have a different concept, but each term, they're going to have different characteristics. They're going to have different relationships. Eleye, those the owner, the carrier of the birds. They're going to be operational, communicative power, more or less. The Yami can be also that protective, sacred, maternal authority. Then you have Ade, which is that effective, transformative power. It can be uh, also that can have a dangerous capacity. So let's bear in mind with the story, I'm just trying to give us some context on what's going on. So they saying his mom, Opohe mother, was very fearless in the witches. Eleye, the owner of the birds. She was fearless. She was uncompromising. Like everything, she set rules and everything must happen within this realm that she was in. Whenever disagreements occurred within them, she was selling it and everybody would be okay. Whenever there was conflict within them, she would show her power. And they say that she would afflict pain on those who dared to confront anyone of the Eleye, anyone who was the possessor of the birds in the forest, anyone that was of the witches. If anyone come across them, she would destroy them. And she was known for this. She was known for this. Any man, they say, who enter a relationship with any one of her group, which they describe as the witches of Iliad Faith, which we broke down mean the owners of the birds in the forest, because they see and know everything in that capacity. Anyone who get in a relationship with one and they abandoned them, mistreated them, they will punish them with impotence, right? They will punish them and do bad things to them. So now we get into the philosophy of the mothers, and we're going to break it down and get into the hidden, this power within this spiritual concept. So any man who struck any one of those people, they will be brutalized. They will be crippled. They will be beat up real bad, because this is how it happened. They say any other woman who assaulted them, the owners of the bird, also would be lose their teeth, will go deaf, would just lose their mind, and just go into certain ways that will not be well for them. That's what they're saying. But this does not mean that the Leye was just simply attacking people for without reason, because the energy is not simply destructive nor nurturing, but it is consequential. It is like regulated by what we know, what we see, how we act. That's how the actions move. So whenever they say that, whenever the families got together and they disputed over, boundaries, or they had any kind of family disputes, she would come in, and those who she felt like there was wrong, that They would clean the slate. They would destroy everything. They say Opehe, his mother, the head of the Leye, had 7 children. She had 7 children, you know, and they say she gave 6 of those children to her group to have a feast to eat to show her dedication to the group. So that's how fierce she was. So to demonstrate her commitment to the sorority that she was in, she dedicated her children, all 6 of them, but she had 7. Now, I wrote a book called The Urban Guide for Mothers Raising Sons. And in this book, I explain like how everybody speak about the power of voodoo and how voodoo was able to of Haiti and how Haiti was able to overcome such difficulties and better than France. And I say that one thing they was able to do, they was able to sacrifice their lives. They put their lives on the line, and also they was able to sacrifice their children for the cause, for a greater future. Because they mentioned that they used to throw their kids in the cannon. So this is something that they probably learned from this understanding. Sometimes they would offer their children for a greater, not for that, just for the to bring that understanding of loyalty and I guess veracity to the table. So they say one child she kept, and that was Opehe. That was the only child. And they say that he liked for nothing. They said that everything that he wanted, she gave to him. They said that wherever she went, he was there also. Opehe, with his mother, which was the head of the witches, Eleye, the owner of the birds. And they say that he ended up marrying someone who was very beautiful, married someone who he fell in love with very much. But they say that when he married her, he was his mom's favorite son. And we know the power that his mom have. That he used to stay with his mom all the time throughout the day. 24 hours in a day, he with his mom maybe like 18 hours. Also in the same book, I speak about the mama's boy syndrome and the urban guy. So clearly that's something here going on, right? So they saying that he married a beautiful woman, but you know the position of his mom. She the head of the witches and of the Eleye, which is the owner of the birds in the forest, the mystic ones, which is a part of the Iyami, the sacred mothers. And she is ferocious. So he hung with his mom by 18 hours a day. I don't know. Also, I'm explaining in the book how those things happen. The wife start in the urban guide for mothers to understand the sons, how the wives start feeling some type of way. And no need to say, the story says that she never spent time with him. She started growing weary. She went to her parents and was complaining and was nagging. And they attempted to talk to Opehe, but hey, you know what I mean? He wasn't listening to anyone but his mother. Hey, that's how it is sometimes, right? Real life. So one day she was telling her friends, and they say, "Come on, well, let's get out." So they come and take her, and then now they go into the market. So when they go into the market, you know, she was excited because she haven't been going out. And so her friends, you know, they They going to eat. They going to the new stores. They buy a couple of leggings, some leggings, bracelets and stuff. And now she feeling better. And they told her, since you feel so good, you got to start getting out more. Just because Opehe is with his mom, that doesn't mean that you have to stay in the house all the time. Okay? So that's what she decided to do. They encouraged her to, you know, get out, explore, and for your mind won't just be focused on your husband, Opehe. So they told her, express yourself when you see people, talk to them. Don't just let these things sit in, but sometimes you have to talk to let them out because you don't want to become like a bag lady. You got to let them bags go, they told her. You don't want to become a bag lady. Let them bags go. And so she was happy, for the advice, and then she took it. So from forward, she started going out. And as she started going out, they say she met Orisha and La. They say she met Obatala. He that wakes up in the white cloth. He that goes to bed in the white cloth. He that goes to the market in the white cloth. So they met so she met Obatala. And when she met Obatala, they said that it was love at first sight. They saying that it was predestined. That they looked in each other's eyes, they was adoring each other, they liked each other. So what happened is they immediately became attracted to each other. And Obatala at the time was experiencing difficulties, was experiencing problems with his wife, which was Yemuo at the time. So Yemuo and him was going through things. And Opehe wife began telling Obatala about the problems that she having. That's how it starts, right? So at first they were just talking. They just talk to each other. Okay, yeah, Then eventually, it's in their relationship developed and they became closer and closer. So this is Obatala and the wife of Pehe. So now we're discussing. This is the Underground Spiritual Game, episode 11, for those who just tuned. And we talking about the mothers. And we talking about the hidden rules of power. So he met Obatala. Obatala take the wife of Opehe, which is the favorite son of the witches. Eleye, the owner of the birds of the forest. She the head. And mothers don't play about them sons, especially how ferocious she is. So Obatala, he goes like always. What we do, we go to get a reading to try to find out what's to do with this relationship, And they say that the Awo, and they say his name was OTTGG. They say he came into the room, real studious man. They say that he was quiet, he was smart, an intellectual person, right? So they say he came into the room and during the consultation, he said he wanted to take a step. He Batala want to take Opehe wife. And Opehe is the favorite son of the witches, Ileye, the owner of the birds. So he advised them that, hey, it's not a good idea. He said, it would be no difficulty. She wants you. You can have her because she wants you. But the problem is going to be when you have to deal with the consequences. He say the problem is going to be a lot of anxiety, a lot of suffering, and it could be overwhelming. But since Obatala was head over heels, what we say, he cannot imagine them not being together for just one more second, 2 seconds. He wanted them. So he asked that, whoa, hey, let's just do that bowl and to overcome whatever problem that may arise. So we just want to do that both. Now, sometimes we run into situations of people in real life where they get caught up in situations where it's easy to obtain or it's easy to get this money, and but the consequences that come behind it are easy to get in this relationship, but the consequences that comes behind it could be extreme. Okay, so they ask him to do that bowl to just so I can overcome it. But sometimes when people get in these situations, they not doing it at bowl. So now we have situations where people say, "Oh, if they believe in Ifa, if your God, why they ain't out of this pit? Why they still in here? Oh, why they locked up? Hmm, because there's some consequences that came along with it, and they ain't do no abo for it. They ain't do the proper offerings, proper sacrifices for it. So sometimes people get stuck within their own destiny or within their own dish that they dug. But Lisa Batala, he did the offering. So we learn one thing: a thing can be available to us, but don't have to be good for our destiny. You know, we find people in these situations. For those tuning in, there's the Underground Spiritual Game, episode 11, The Mothers and the Hidden Rules of Power. So we discussing and we going through the story of Opa Hayes, the favorite son of the head of the mother, of the head of the witches. Let me get that back. The head of the witches, which they translate into English, but the witches which they translate is Eleye, the owner of the birds. She the head. You know, the birds are mistress. So Awo told him again, do not, told Abatala again, do not, you do not want to do this because the consequence is going to be great. He explained that all the Ebo in the world would not prevent the problem from coming. Hey, he said, the problem gonna come. Now, you do Ebo to probably overcome it, but the pain is gonna come. So maybe sometimes the Ebo come in, it helps you understand the pain, maybe. But he said it's coming. So the purpose of the Ebo was to prevent Obatala for being completely consumed by the consequences. That could be not jumping from the top bunk. That can be from not committing maybe suicide. Who knows? You know, so the Ebo was performed for him not to be overcome. So he was saying, hey, place me on top of whatever coming so I would be able to succeed, basically. So she moved. Opohe wife moved to Obatala house. 3 days. They say just 3 days after she left. Opohe was like, what's going on? Where's my wife? Where's my beautiful wife? Right? So guess what he do? He with his mom 18 hours out of the day. You know, hey, he got the mama's boy syndrome. The first thing he do is tell his mom. They searched everywhere, but they couldn't find her. They say at the time, Yemuo wasn't number one at the time, so she was angry. So they say that she tried to get back. So she went and told Eleye, the owner of the birds in the forest, the witches, Opohe relatives, that hey, She's at Obatala house. Obatala took her. Everyone feared the mother of Opoehe because they know that she is vicious, she is ferocious, and she will eat you from your intestines out. So automatically they expected her to come and just take her for a son, like mothers do, right? Destroy Batala. They want to destroy, crush everything, everybody. And the people waited. And they say they waited. And they kept waiting. And they stopped waiting. Then they started going back to the market. Then they started going back to work. But nobody never really understood what happened. They say that she didn't even lift her finger. She didn't do anything. And I prefer not to guess why. Why she didn't do anything? That's just a question. That's one of the, I guess, the hidden rules of power that we have to figure out. But they say she didn't do nothing. But guess what? Her crew, the ones who she was over, the other witches, Eleye, the owner of the birds, those who got eyes everywhere, they said, hold up, something going on. Why is she not responding to this infringement? What is going on here? But she been dishonored publicly and she refused to act. They were like, why she's not even mentioning? And then they think, have she lost control? Is she weeping? Is she grieving? What's going on? But that left their mind quick because when other instances, when other situations occurred, Opehe mother, the head of the witches, would jump in quickly to settle everything and do it ferociously. Cut off heads. They said right after that something happened and the whole village was dismantled swiftly by Opehe mother. But they was like, something is wrong because have she stopped caring for her only child? You remember she sacrificed the other six. So have she stopped caring for Opehe, her only child? That's what they trying to figure out. So they got together again and they invited Opehe mother, the head of the witches of Ile-Ife, which is the owner of the birds in the forest, right? That's that concrete definition from the Yoruba understanding. So they discussed the situation, they went over it and they talked. But guess what? The mom remained silent. She didn't say a word. I don't know. Maybe she was feeling guilty or something. But let's not guess on that. So they came to it and they was like, maybe they want us. Maybe she want us to move for her. That's what friends are for. We know that's what friends are for. We fight for each other. So they're like, maybe they want us, she want us to fight for her. So guess what they did? They powered up. They said they got drunk. And when I say they say we. It was like swarm. They like bees, right? They declared that all the children of Obatala, Orisha in La, the Orisha who dress in white, who wears white, the Orisha who forms the head, every one of these children will be killed and his head would, and the house will be destroyed. Sort of like Kupate, Bulika, off with their heads, burn their houses and off with their heads. You know, that's that French Revolution. So they got on the French Revolution. They say, hey, everything is gone. And they went deep. They say anyone who attempted to help him would be caught up in the madness also. They would be slaughtered. Like we say, Eleye, Eyami. You know, they act in many different capacities and has various characteristics that cross many lines, right? Well, Eleye, as we see, owner of the birds, we call them witches. They have that observational power. And the Iyami, as discussed in the Odus, have that protective power. And one thing that it shows us, and why the Iyami at times with that protective maternal power are so feared, is that it show us the danger of when this powerful energy, collective energy, once it's provoked, once it's mobilized, there's no turning back. Kind of like when they say a shoe, the quick, the hurry, and the sudden, like what they say in the Odu with a shoe, and it says once it's spread, it's hard to assemble. So, and we know that this energy will even turn on itself, because it says that, you know, the head of the witches in the forest will even tackle some of the members and off them if they be disrespectful or dishonorable. So this energy, once it is loose, it is hard to attain. And they talking about going after the great whites, he that wake up in the white cloth. So we know the Iwan Iyawa, which is another characteristic, is more nutrient. You know, in Nigeria, they kin to the Yoruba in Nigeria, and the diaspora is two different ideals on the mothers. We're going to just use the one word. Yeah, me, you know, somewhat appeal to them, and they appeal to the ferocious side. But in Nigeria, it's like, hold up, we know this energy can be destructive to its own as well. And this is what it's saying. So they say they're gonna put Abatala. They get together, and we talking about they in droves, and they say that we gonna put Abatala to a slow and painful death. Talking about they're gonna peel his skin off. They're gonna eat his intestines from the take his liver, eat his heart. They want to make an example out of him, so that if anybody know they crossed the line with Eleye, they crossed the line with the witches, the owner of the birds, that they're gonna have no foundation to stand on. They said that the entire city, neighborhood, community in which Obatala live must be demolished, destroyed. So they started preparing for war. 3 days later, they was in the marketplace, and before the sun could rise, they began heading to Obatala house. They say that it was so many, only thing you seen is just the dust, because this is the power that they bring. They say that Obatala heard him coming. When he heard him, he looked outside. He said, what? The number was so big. They say that he was literally shaking in his boots. He was scared. He was frightened. So he gathered everyone together. And guess what? They ran out the back door. Before he left, they say that he grabbed his sword. He grabbed his sword. He had a sword. Shit, excuse me. He had a sword that looked like this. They say he grabbed his sword. Ada Risha, they call it Adaga. He had a sword like this. They say he went and grabbed his sword and he left. And then he remembered. Then he finally remembered what the Babalawo told him about. Be careful because the consequences you're going to feel. So he took everyone. And only thing he talked about, hey, he gone. Because guess what he do? He run to Ṣàngó KBAC. He run to Ṣàngó house. When he get in Ṣàngó house, he's seeking protection. Before Ṣàngó knew what happened, before he can even ask, the swarm of dust, they lay yay, the witches, the owners of the birds of the forest, they stomping at the door, on the porch, like they moving swiftly. That's how they move. You know what I mean? They were moving swiftly. This that protective energy, right? When Ṣàngó heard this, guess what he did? He grabbed everything and he fled. So now you got Ṣàngó, Obakoso, Olukoso, Ṣàngó running, Obatala running from the power of the Iyami because they like, hold on, this force is too much. And that's just like what the Babalawo told him. He said, hey, listen, the consequences, we can do it both for you to overcome them, but the consequences is going to be there. They said that they even ran, this particular group, they ran to a Shun house. Hey, I guess a Shun ain't part of this group at Leye because they say she got all her members. They did the same thing and they fled too. They say they went to a goon house. And when they got to a goon house, a goon was like, he was ready. But when that swarm came on that porch, when the mothers, Eleye, came on the porch of a goon, they say everybody ran from a goon house. For those who just tuning in, this is the Underground Spiritual Gang, episode 11. The mothers and the hidden rules of power we talking about. So, Ogun, Ṣàngó, Oshun, Orisha Inla, all of these different Orishas is running from the force of these mothers. And when we talking about the force, we talking about this protective authority that the mothers bring. But it says, man, that they didn't stop. They say they went to Orisha Oko house, Orisha Rinle, Orisha Ogun. They say they went to Gungun, Oro. They even say they went to Oya house. They even say they went to Olokun house. They even say they went to Obaluae house and many other Orishas. So they're letting you know this protective power is some strong power and it's worth respecting because couldn't collectively anyone stop these power. So everywhere they went, Eleye, they say the Iyami, the owner of the birds, followed them and threatened anyone to help you, we're gonna kill them. So now they about like, they deep. All they have to do is turn around and fight because he had the Adarisha. All they have to do is turn around and fight. But guess what? They so afraid. They keep going. And then guess what? They stop. And then everybody start pointing at Obatala. It was like, it's you. You carried this stuff to our house. You carried these mothers to our house, the Iyami, by the direction of the Eleye, the owners of the birds, because you messed with one of their people, their son, their favorite son, Ope, hey, you brought them to our house. And so we must give you up. Not at the same time, the same day, Orunmila, he's sleeping peacefully. And but he had what we may call a nightmare, but he had a bad dream. And you know, within the tradition, when you get bad dreams and when they're troubling, the first thing you do is get a reading. So Obatala got a reading. And within the reading, Ifa tells him that you have a problem approaching. And guess who it is? It's Eleye is Iyami. They are coming for you. You're like, what the? I didn't do anything. What you mean? So they told him, you need to make you some ebo. And this ebo, you need to make, um, get something that's sticky. Get a she goat, palm or money. You know, all these things you have to sacrifice. Now do ebo. And then make it peche. A peche is what we feed the mothers. Make a peche. And he say, put this sticky stuff on this peche and put these offerings in certain places around your house. So he did all this. He didn't hesitate. And guess what? He slept off. He went back to sleep. As you know, not too long, all the Orisha and all the entourage and members of their family come banging on his door. They asking him for refuge. And you know a room a lot. He let them in. Immediately, he understood that because Ajay, the witches arrived. Alere, Iyami, they arrived at the door. He knew that it was a war with them. That's what Ifa predicted. This Òsá Méjì. This is the hidden rules of power. He knew, okay, we're going to be facing. We have this energy, protective energy. They trying to kill everyone who trying to protect Obatala. Children, wives, sisters, brothers, anybody. Because Obatala offended them, disrespected them by taking the wife of the head son, Opoehe. So they ready to kill because of this. So when we speak about this energy being, it's consequential, regulatory, and it could be uncontrollable once it get pumped up, kind of like a mob crowd, right? So they there, and they at the house, so he knew he was going to war, but because he did that boat, he was like, okay, we're going to see what's going down. So all of a sudden, Eshuda, the stone bearer, the Risha Avenger, he appeared. And he told all the Risha, listen, y'all just chill, calm down. I'm gonna go talk to them, and then y'all gonna be protected. But Ashur-dar didn't know they was mad, I guess. And they didn't know. So Ashur encouraged all of them to just eat. So he said, y'all just be calm. So Ashur-dar, he went out there and he see the Yami. You know, Eshu is Eshu. You know, Eshu is the one who not only fight with his fists, but he fight with his mind and he fight with his tongue. And he bring out hidden agendas within people. So Eshu told them, he greeted them. Eka-san, this was evening. He greeted them. He advised them, listen, before y'all go to war, y'all been chasing these people all day. He said, y'all need to eat something. And it's some food that has been prepared for y'all. And wouldn't it be, y'all feel y'all stomach, and wouldn't it be a great story to say that y'all ate his food and then y'all killed him? Think about what the future generations would say. We know as you don't defeat opposition not through always direct confrontation. They like to call him a trickster. But guess what? He knows how to make a force move according to its nature. He don't necessarily push the force, but he can make it move. So the witches, they love the idea. And they visioned it and everything. So they began to eat. They landed on the food, they said. Yay, because they don't know the birds, right? They're like birds. So they landed on the food and they began to eat. It say that as soon as they landed, they became stuck to the adhesive that was put on the elbow, on the epeche. They became stuck with all the adhesive that had been placed around it. It said the more they struggled, it's saying the more they try to. You ever seen a rat that's caught in one of them glue things? The more they move, the more they become trapped firmly in. Like, you done seen it. I done seen it. It's the real deal. So, at the process of time, everyone, all they lay yay, the owners of the bird, they were stuck. And as Shu seen it, and then he went back in and told the room a lot that he had overcome them. Always understand within the hidden rules of power that as Shu always work for Rumala. That's one thing. In relation to Ebo. And together, there's like the force of intellectual power. Because these two always going to work for Rumala. He always going to work to enhold Ifa, to reinforce the authority of Ifa. So the great fighter is not just physical, but he create the opportunity for the force to reveal its own weakness. So when Rumala went outside, he saw the witches they say he went out there and he was like overwhelmed because all they lay, the owners of the birds, they were stuck on their peche. They were stuck because they had the adhesives around. And he was marveled at his shoe. So then they say he went into the house and he went to go look for his machete, right? Because he said he could not find one. He want to finish them. And then guess what? Obatala, Orisha and La, he who wakes up in the white cloth, he who go to sleep in the white cloth, he who go to the market in the white cloth. He grabbed his Odarisha, Odaga, this right here. They grabbed it. He gave it to him. So then Arumala went outside and went to swinging and swinging. They said it was blood everywhere. They said when he was done, he was like Ogun. He that has water but bathes in blood. They said that he was all red in blood because he cut off all those Ileye owners of the birds that were there. He cut off all of their heads. So Abatala was pleased and overwhelmed. All the rich was overwhelmed. Arumala. So Abatala say, here, you can have this. You can have the Adaga. You can have it. So now this belongs to the Babalawo. So when you see a Babalawo with this, what does it mean? It means a lot, right? But it also, don't forget, it means that the hidden rules of power. It means that intellectual power of Rumala and Eshu. It also means the collective and treacherous power that the mothers can bring. So now the Adaga is the straight property of Babalawos because it used to be the property of, it used to be, give me one moment. Oh, my connection there or something. Bit. It used to be the property of, oh, okay, I see what they want. It used to be the property of Òòṣàńlá, but now it is the property of Òrúnmìlà. So as we close, let us remember this. The greatest spiritual work that we can do is sometimes going around them problems, circumventing them problems before they begin. Because Obatala had a chance to overcome this problem. These are the hidden rules of power. If you dig a ditch, ain't no one gonna stop you if you're gonna jump head first in it. And sometimes, if you're creating these problems and you're not committing that boat to overcome them, you can get stuck in these problems indefinitely. So sometimes the spiritual work that we do, it could create an escape. It could prevent total destruction. But guess what? Conflict can still come. Damaged relationships, embarrassment, all these things can still come. So it's important that we understand that first, that if it's try to avoid them, because we don't want to get stuck in situations where we have to do so much to get out. And let's understand the powerful relationship also that, like I like to call, the dynamic force of Eshu and Òrúnmìlà to overcome these situations when we able to commit a bull. So that's why we say, like always, we salute Òrúnmìlà, Iba Òrúnmìlà, Ajana Okurun Oke Ogiti, Akere Finishu Bon, Illyria Pin. We salute you, Òrúnmìlà. We also salute Eshu Mojibao, Eshu, the stone bearer, the Risha Avenger, the great fighter, the dark-skinned man on the outside, the smallest Baba, Shu, Dar, Citizen Dolphin. He that sits on his victim laps or refuses to eat. Also disallow victim swallow meal peacefully. He that replaces salt with pebbles. Baba know him as Shel Tura. Mother called him Gong, who announced his fight. Small man that punished the mighty. He did not deny his wicked acts except for when he does one. He that prides himself in double dealing. He that difficult to assemble, one scatter, the brave, the bold. He that farms around the house. He that farms outside the house. He collect dues in the marketplace. Wealth slides near a shoot a time benevolence. Only person make a buzz, I receive and shoot blessings. The great fighter, the dogen child of a room to hold on to one blessings. One must give his shoe his due. To hold on to a ray, one must give his shoe his due. To hold on to Irebobo. All great things, one must give his shoe his due. Shoe Mojibao, shoe to now do us, but do whoever refuse to appease you. Eshu Kurioko, Eshu Tarisha, Alabaku, Alababra, Omicron Durita, Omicron Ilofin, Baba Kekere, Ile Chiche, Ese Koje, Kosi Chakeani Jebe Miyo, Afio Kuta, Tipo Yo, Eshu, we salute you, Gegele. If death is coming for us, please place us on top to overcome it. Gegele, if affliction, contention, or loss is coming for us, Gegele, please place us on top to overcome it. Gegele. But if abundance, protection, productivity, if all those great things we need to make good decisions, if these things are coming for us, please carry us there to claim our blessings. The day we see EB, the day we see any form of negativity, the day it shall disappear. The day we see E-Ray is the day it will be accepted. Ojo Ribini Biwole, Ijori Rainy Ray Day, Eshetable, Orutable, Asatable, to, Ashe. Olókun abiomo rere, olókun abiomo jídí, èyá mi olókun Abiomo rere. Ìyá mi ó lọ́kùn. Ìyá mi ó lọ́kùn. Abiomo gidi. Odabo blessings. May our blessings continue to find us. Irebobo and Leo. May all great things continue to seek us. May the Orishas come together and plot on how we shall be successful. May our travel always be light and not heavy. May we do not forsake the little things in our decision making. Ashe wa, Ashe Olodumare. I wish you all strength, good health. Adabo, Adabo, Adabo.